talk about the resolution that claims that we will support extensive Russian military forces in Syria. So, why do we want to support this involvement of Russia in this conflict? Why do we will support it? First of all, now we understand that all the other methods are failed. Because now we still have no peace in Syria and we still can't just resolve this problem easily. And Russia is a very good and very strong ally in this case. Why? Because Russia have strong military force and they, sorry, not yet, and they can just resolve this problem with ISIS. Why is it important to let me problem solve? Just why should we resolve the problem with ISIS, and why should we take some support from Russia in this case, and why should we do that? Because ISIS is an organization that is extending every day, and it is a great threat for Europe because they using not just military force to spread their ideas, but they use propaganda as well, they use ideological sources, and they are spreading their ideas, and we see that they do it well, actually. And in Europe they have some members of, we have some members of ISIS, and we should understand that ISIS is a great threat for even the existence of democracy, of European values, and so on. Because there may be the day when ISIS will reach European borders and will spread. Sorry, no. And will spread their ideas the more efficient, even more efficient than they are doing it now. So not just big why other methods of fighting with this problem are already failed? Because we have no other such strong allies as Russia is. Because Jordan, Turkey, and other allies of America has no opportunity to support us now, and they have no opportunity to resolve this problem. And we should understand that we should take this support from Russia. And already in the status quo, we have some negotiations between Obama and Putin about creating some consolidation and creating some force to resolve this problem. And that point, okay.
Thank you. How Russia bombing the opposition of Bashar al-Assad can help us to get war against ISIS?
They are not just bombing the opposition, they are bombing ISIS as well. You know that this conflict has three sides. Assad, protesters, and Russian troops and American troops there. And why can we just state that Russia can be an efficient ally in this case? And they just Russia understands the threat of ISIS too, as well as America does, because they are the extension of ISIS may affect all the countries near this region, and not just near this region. And we should understand that when other methods are failed, and when other methods aren't efficient enough to bring peace to Syria, we should just not stop negotiations and not stop resolving this problem in any way we can do that. And by just denying the efficiency of Russia's military forces against ISIS and against terroristic threat, we just lose an opportunity to resolve this problem and to actually bring the peace to Syria and to actually just stop this extension of ISIS. Yeah, and we should understand that we should use any of the opportunity in this case to resolve this problem. Thank you.
Again, I'd like to thank the President. I'd like to welcome the Leader of Opposition to open the case of the opposition side.
So, we as a world society do not want to have a new another international conflict. That's why we're not fighting for Ukraine. It's now we're not fighting for some other conflict of interest we do have in Moldova, Pridnestrovia, in Azerbaijan, like Sukhoi. So we don't want to solve this problem as international. That's why the same logic is in Syria. Actually, we are worried that ISIS will be damaged by all our possibilities, but we actually don't want to solve it as an international problem, as actually solving Russia in this conflict will be more international, more damages for the world as well, as not just with Turkey as bombing ISIS for now. Actually, we don't the same. We actually not have an ISIS as a world society. We don't want to give another one country to come to the Syria and war against ISIS. That's why in the UNN we are voting for the UNN's military are coming to Syria to solve the problem, because we understand that one country, if it will be ISIS, it will be the international problem as well as we will have it in such possibility. Also, we are the main difference between the world society and Russia is that we want opposition of Syria, a war against ISIS. That's why we give them military. That's why we teach them. That's why we give money for them. That's why in Congress of USA a month ago it was a discussion about our help for the opposition. What Russia wants? Russia wants the same. Russia wants not to fight from ISIS. Russia wants Bashar Assad to fight from ISIS. That's why Russia, for now, are not fighting from ISIS. Russia are bombing opposition. Russia bombing was the sources. We as a world society are helping them to be in Syria. We as a world society are helping them to work against ISIS and in this, to help them this fight for them. Also, it's not a problem just about saying because of ISIS, because having as this possibility, we are not talking about fighting about solving this problem as well. Third thing from our team for this game is it's not in our interest for now as our world society. Second, it will make more problems for us in future, and third, it will be the first step for a Cold War as well. Firstly, why it's not in our interest? Because Russia actually don't want to give some interest what we have in this conflict. Russia is against all our things we have. Russia is for Bashar Assad and not fighting actually absolutely till ISIS. And in this scope of interest, when we as a world society, as USA or Europe, put a lot of money to the opposition to be in Syria, and Russia bombing all money we have in this opposition, it's actually absolutely not in our interest, because we are this opposition in this conflict. Secondly, it will be more dangerous for us because it will involve actually another side of this conflict. Why we don't want to one alone country come to this conflict and the UNN involved with them? Why we don't want to solve this as a Yugoslavia as well? It was in 1997. Because in Yugoslavia we don't need the UNN, because after crushing the USSR we don't have another six that will have more send military to this conflict as well. By now, we do have some conflict, because if Russia will think for this status quo, if they are in their interest, they show to the world they are new superpowers that's the same as the USSR, after involving this conflict as Russia in the full extension, it will be understandable for Europe and USA. They need also solve this problem as well. As it was in Afghanistan, we had the USA and USSR, as it was the same as in Vietnam, because USSR as solving the opposition in USA. So what's the problem for now? We are talking now not about international conflict, but the conflict of Syria, where they have some three sides, Assad, opposition, and ISIS. But in status future, it will be an international conflict where we don't have not only interest of Syria, but the interest of Russia, and after that it will be involve the interest of the USA and the interest of Europe, because as well as the super countries will involve their own problems on Syria, as it was in Afghanistan, in Vietnam, in some other countries, in small countries, because they don't want to crush themselves making such problems. Secondly, it will be dangerous. Yes, we can ensure the idea that maybe Russia, after helping Bashar al-Assad to bomb all opposition, can help to to join the ISIS. But the main problem in it, ISIS is our ally, but we can't do it by the logic that our alien is the alien of our alien is our friend, because we do have an historical some examples how it to make more harm for us. Because the USA do the same in the First World War, in the Second World War, and it will be involved in this conflict, just understandable that they solve their own interest. Financial interest in the First World War would involve USA in the conflict after crushing the Louisiana in 1917. They're using some USA interest in Europe between Germany and France will involve USA after Pearl Harbor in 1941. So we are now just by this logic, it's absolutely inefficient for us, because it will involve us in future, because this alien we also do understand for now that Russia is alien for us, because their interest is not the same as interest for us, and it will be dangerous for us. Secondly, it will be the first step for a Cold War, because we do understand that after crushing the USSR, we don't have a Cold War, and we have for now only one super state as understandable for war is the USA. Yes, somebody like it, yes, somebody don't like USA. But for now, Russia create an illusion it is the new super state, new superpower. What is this? Yes, it's a regional superpower for now, because some problems with Ukraine, some with Georgia, some with Pridnestrovia, some with Azerbaijan. But after solving this problem, it's the international, in another side of our earth, will create an illusion that Russia for now is a new super state, and will create a new bloc of the countries which don't like USA. So for now, we are talking about Russia as a regional super state. Just became some problem with the borders with countries on the road, but involving this conflict to the Syria is firstly it's our alien, and secondly it will be understandable a new state of creation in the Cold War. So because of it's not in our interest. Secondly, it will make more problems to us in future, and thirdly, it will first keep to a third Cold War. We actually oppose this option. To oppose this motion. Thank you.
I'd like to thank the gentleman for his fine speech. I'd like to welcome the Deputy Prime Minister to continue the case for the proposition side. Okay, thank you. My name is Miriam, and I would like to start with some rebattling, obviously. So you stated, Sasha, that basing most of your case on historical examples, and just to say that Moldova and Syria are different continents, but okay, that's fine. And you are also saying that you can't actually depend so much and refer so much to the past. We all know what Germany did in last century, and look at Germany right now. I understand that maybe Putin is not going to turn his brain around and give flowers to everyone and kiss everyone, but I Russia is very interested in actually resolving this conflict, and I will explain you why. So, as we all understand, the problem of ISIS, as my team has already mentioned, ISIS is an extreme organization. It spreads so quickly, it spreads around, and what is the most horrible about ISIS is, if you don't know, they kill people. They kill people for like no reasons. They just don't like your beard, they will kill you. And because of that, we kind of think they're dangerous, and we don't want this kind of bad guys in this world. However, these bad guys are still spreading, and there is nothing done about it. And as we know, America has already been supporting Syria for, like, especially the opposition of the government, and there has been no results. We still understand Syria now. We still can see how horrible the Syrian crisis is. We can still see that on refugees. We can see that people are dying. That human rights violations are everywhere. So actually, there is no resolving to this conflict without Russia. We all understand that it sounds horrible, but I'm sorry, you're all very prejudiced. Because we all think that Russia is bad because they do bad things in Ukraine. But you know, like they have their own like international relations strategy, and of course for us it's not the best one. But maybe for Syria that would actually work. Don't try to convince yourself only based on the Ukrainian and other countries' examples. No, sorry. So we understand why is Russia actually so interested in resolving this conflict. First of all, we kind of are sure that the opposition of the government in Syria is kind of weak and they are losing, and because of that it is even easier for ISIS to overtake. It means that ISIS is spreading even faster, and Russia is very close to Syria actually, and Russia is very in the nearest future might be also affected by ISIS. And what if ISIS actually spreads into Russia? Russian people will die. Putin doesn't want Russian people to die because Russian people love Putin and he wants to be loved. So he wants ISIS to not come to Russia. He wants ISIS to be dead. Try to imagine that, okay, we all know Putin is evil, ISIS is evil, but sometimes evil people don't like evil people. This happens. So we also we also say that we also are sure that as we know, USA and Russia are not the best friends, let's say. However, we are also sure that USA is very interested in cooperation with Russia at the moment. First of all, USA is losing so much of resources on the Syrian conflict. Second of all, they understand that their allies such as Jordan, such as Saudi Arabia, you know, like what's the other countries are there, they are also very affected by ISIS, and they also don't want these things to happen because they are Turkey. So they want these people to be protected, and in order for these people to be protected, they should actually find some kind of solution. They understand that they can find solution. Okay, we will be cooperating with Russia to solve it. Fine. Actually, okay.
If Russia is so interested in finishing this conflict, why she didn't support Western democracies? Why she do it by herself?
Oh, I can tell you, he has some complexes. Look, Putin is very much, he's trying to okay, I'm not saying that I'm a psychologist or something, but there is some kind of Russia against West conflict in his head. He's trying to show off. However, Syria is not this part. He's not trying to show off in front of West, and we are not saying that Russia actually, in the beginning of Putin's power, whatever, that was actually quite a democratic country. I mean, in terms of what do you decide democracy is, but in my opinion, it was a democracy. So we are not saying that they are against some liberal views. Maybe they will actually develop some democracy in Syria. And what I was trying to say is, wait, I forgot. I hate points of information for this. So okay. So basically, I just tried to say that USA will actually cooperate with Russia because they're interested in the soonest resolving of this conflict. And we also have to understand that there has been no proof that Russia is killing the opposition of the government. That's everything that everyone is just trying to it's just through presumption that they will kill because they are supported by Americans. Russians don't like Americans. I mean, there is no proof of that, and we believe that they will not kill all the opposition. They will just kill ISIS. And we are speaking about the case when Russia is fighting ISIS. Why is ISIS bad? I think everyone understands, the world would be dead if ISIS is going to like overtake more and more. To add to that, we have like also seen that all the other options have already failed the case, and Russia is a very strong military like force, and we all understand that they have actually historically and even now we can see how much they invest in the military and how much like with the budget they like increased 75%. So we understand that they are capable of actually fighting ISIS. They are capable of actually winning, and they are capable of resolving this conflict. What happens if the Syrian conflict is resolved? If the Syrian conflict is resolved, we will have no refugee crisis because no refugees will go to Europe, and I understand that there might be some, like, a lot of people say that most of the refugees are escaping the government. However, and as the statistic shows, most of refugees actually escape because of ISIS, because they understand that ISIS is actually much more evil than the government, and they're not escaping because of the government, they're escaping because of ISIS. So if Russia comes and if it has to fight ISIS, there will be no refugee crisis as well. Thank you.
Okay, I'd like to hold my first speech. I would kindly ask the speakers to talk quietly to each other because it's very disturbing for us to hear what this actual speaker is talking about. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome the Deputy Leader of the Opposition to continue the case when it started.
Just a second. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm glad to be here and to debate in this final. So let's start. Firstly, you are telling us about the problem of look, these debates are about the reasons of this, not really about the reasons of this conflict, not really about the First and Second World War, but while we use these examples, I'll answer you just a little further, but you just have to understand what we are talking about is about the sense of these conflicts, it's about the sense of international conflicts, and it's about the point that why we don't need the Russia military involvement in the Syria because it will start this international conflict. So it's not a point about the Germany is the different country from now. It's about the personal state interest. It's about the interest of the power involved, and it's about the Putin's interest to be the man whose mind is counting in the world society. Because we are talking about that Russia wants to take part in serious conflict, and Russia takes part in serious conflict, but like in the frames that are acceptance for plus and minus. But the point is that the purpose of this taking part in of this attending in this of this conflict is that the Russia and Putin wants, because Putin wants yes, we agree with you that Putin wants to show off, and it's okay for us because we understand that it's his interest to Russia be counted in the world society, in the world mind. So it's okay, but it's not okay because it will cause the bad results, and I'll tell you now what the bad results. So we for accepting this military involvement, we need to prove why is it necessary, and you didn't prove us why is it necessary, because we understand that in the status quo, we understand that we have this conflict, and we have this conflict like domestic conflict with the taking part of international organizations and different countries, but not on the international area. It's conflict inside the country, and we understand that even if U.S. helps for the opposers and Russia merely helps it helps Bashar Assad. Russia helps Bashar Assad, but well-meaning for it's like they're helping for the society for bombing the ISIS. we show you that it's not necessary to involve Russia because it's not there. It's not the case. We are fighting against ISIS, but the problem is that Russia do not want to fight against against ISIS. And my teammate show it to you because the fact is when Russia takes part in this conflict in Syria, she bombs not really ISIS but their opposers, and it's strictly demonstrating you that the interest of Russia is not the resolving of the problem of ISIS. It's the resolving of problem why my mind is not counting in world. I want to be the strongest country in this world. It's okay, but not by the cost of our security, of the world security. Moreover, why we do not look? We understand that. Okay, I hope they all accept that the problem that if Russia will make this involvement, and if we will accept this involvement, it will bring some international element in this conflict of official. And we understand why don't we attack, for example, North Korea? Yes, why we have a confrontations with them, but we do not strictly attack them and make the war with them, because we do not have the strict danger. We don't have a strict danger for our society. We understand that we have to take our society safe. We understand we take to save the people in Syria, but we understand that if the ISIS is not bombing and is not killing in our country, like our people is not occupying our countries, then we don't have a right to take part in this case officially, because we understand that why the France and by Turkey and by Italy are officially bombing the ISIS, because they understand that ISIS declared that they will attack the Vatican and absolutely occupy it, and that's why Italy has right to attack ISIS. Okay, so but in this case we do not have that's right, and otherwise. Firstly, we understand that it's not so necessary for Russia. Second, we understand what will be harmful for us. We understand that we understand that everyone wants ISIS die. Yeah, it's okay. But the problem is that and maybe Russia also wants ISIS die. But the first interest of Russia is to make Bashar Assad's regime stronger. It's not our interest now. We want, and this confrontation will harm our fighting against ISIS in the war, in this conflict. Because we understand that those powers that Russia is helping to Bashar Assad's regime for now are harming our interest in this domestic conflict in Syria. Moreover, what we want to tell you is about what will it be. We understand that the willing of Russia to be the strong country is okay, but what will be if she will make this wide involvement in Syria? It will make an illusion of the power of Russia in the world, because we understand that for now this country is not the really strong player on this area. We understand that Russia wants to help Bashar Assad to resolve his problem. But we understand that if Russia will involve in Syria, it will make the case that Russia stayed after the Bashar Assad regime. It will make Russia like an actor that will not bring us to our result. Because as we proved you, Russia is not interested in resolving the conflict in Syria. Russia is interested in resolving her interests. So it will be illusion. We will think that Russia will help us, but Russia won't help us at all. So we are trying to prove you that it's not the case that it's going to work. And that's why, because we are not interested in the Russia becoming a strong player, and Russia won't help us in this war if she will involve in this war. That's why we beg you to upload. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the speech. I'd like to welcome the extension speaker from the proposition side to extend the debate.
you allow me, before I start, I'd like to thank my teammate who agreed to debate with me because she's leaving from Ukraine probably for a long time tomorrow. Also, I'd like to thank our judges for coming to this tournament and help us make it happen. I'd like to dedicate my speech firstly to the founder of Odessa renewed debate movement in 2010, to Anna Chris, who also helped it happen. And I want to dedicate my speech to Odessa debate team branch of Debate Federation of Ukraine for helping organize that, for helping make it happen. Because of you, I'm staying here and debating after a year of not debating. So thank you all, guys. This speech is for you. So, in my case, I will talk to you about a few main points. Firstly, why we need it. Secondly, why not EU, not USA, not UN or whatever, and why directly Russian Federation. And thirdly, I'm going to talk to you about why it works. But firstly, a few points of rebuttal, and firstly, why we need it. Our goal is firstly to, for a long period of time, citizens of Syria and the neighborhood countries are suffering from disaster, are suffering from the problem of civil war. And there is another risk rising in this region. It's risk of ISIS, and this risk of ISIS is going two problems. Firstly, people there are dying there. Also, it's problem of refugees. It's also problem a risk of terrorists which come into this refugees. So we will have a bunch of problem of this situation going. That's why we should involve in this situation. 4 points of rebuttal. Firstly, we should teach military, but we think that teaching military doesn't work, it's not mutually exclusive. We was teaching them for a long period of time, but conflict not solved, and we can do both. Secondly, we're talking about there is problem with Assad, that Russia gonna support Assad. What was the problem in this case? We need the result, we need to stop ISIS. Even if, for us, ISIS is more important. Even if Russia support Bashar Assad against the ISIS. So if Russia wants to support Assad, Russia should support in fighting with ISIS. On the basis of this, it's more important. And other stuff. Russia already helping Bashar Assad financially and weaponry power. Now she should be doing it transparent. It's what was important for us. Also, in these problems, comparing Assad with other opposition, Assad is only organized regime in this region, despite of opposition who have some contradictions towards each other. So on the contrary, we don't care, we care about results, and the results will be fighting ISIS. About took Russia control in this region. But what is the problem in the history? USSR has control about Egypt and solved the situation there. But after USSR broken, Egypt supported now by USA. So we see that empires in some time, in particular time, are falling. So if also Russian empire can fall, and we can also get these people to us. And also what for us important that the risk which we are having now is predictions that probably Russia have control, global superpower, and so on and so forth. It happened in the future, but what we have now, and this is more important for us, is ISIS. And if we have ability to solve our problems, not with hands of our military, we should do it. If we have some, it would be foolish not solving this problem when one person, one country, I'll solve this problem for you, I'll fight for you. We should agree on that reason. Because for us it's more important is to less our citizen dying, less our military dying. They're talking about, oh, we'll have international conflict. Surprise, we already have international conflict, we're already involved in this, we're already suffering, but now we have Russia who want to suffer for us. On the basis of this reason later, we believe that it's not a problem in this going situation, we should agree on this proposal. So why not USA, not UN and EU? UN has a long history of falling into international involvement. UN has a long-term decision, so if UN gonna do it longer, that's why ISIS gonna rise more and more. And also the problem with UN is veto and other stuff. Why not EU and USA? Because citizens of EU, USA never agreed, we would never agree to go into another conflict. More our people
in statement that the real goal of Russia is to fight with ISIS. But our opposition actually believes that is not true. In our case, we will show you why the goal of Russia isn't to solve this problem, to solve the problem of ISIS, and what is actually goals of Russian Federation, and what is the main problem of these cases. So if we support this Russia, we will have some negative consequences for all nations all over the world. So let us start from rebuttal. Why we needed risk of ISIS and so on. Let us see about the history. 1 year ago, US started to use pilotless bomber. What Russia do? Russia stays silent. Russia do nothing. Russia don't understand the problem of ISIS. What about speeches from ISIS we have heard? It's about against West, Western Europe, it's about US, it's against Western world. No words about Russia we have heard about ISIS. So Russia is not the most the interested country, the most dangerous, the most countries that feel dangerous from ISIS. So we don't understand why right now Russia used these forces. We know that in status quo, when Russia starts military involvement in Syria, we have too many countries that are bombed ISIS in Syria territory. It's about France, it's about US, and so on. But Russia don't support them. Didn't support them. Russia just used another way. So they have another interest in this war. And if our proposition don't believe in this statement, let me show you this really goal of Russia. What about history? As we seen about the conflict in Ukraine, we can understand that the main goal of Russia is instability in the region. When we have the Georgia and Georgia have a chance to go to Union, to the Russia enter the war in the Georgia. The same situation in Ukraine after the revolution in Ukraine. Ukrainians have had a chance to get a membership in EU, and Russia entered a role in Crimea, in Donbass, and so on and so on. So the instability is the instrument that Russian Federation used to make this their own interest. No, thank you. What about Syria? We understand that Syria is not all ISIS. Syria is just one part of ISIS battlefield. So if we really, in case of Russia, support us to win the ISIS in Syrian territory, ISIS as well is still existing. So it's not solving our problem of world terrorism, world terrorism and ISIS as well. So another country, another interest of Russian Federation. We understand that France, US, and so on supported opposition, supported against Bashar Assad. And Putin, in general, some of United Nations Association proposed to support legitimate leader Bashar Assad. It's the main goal of Russia's involvement in Syria. It's not about ISIS, it's about Assad. Why? Because Russian Federation needs a war in this territory. No, because we understand that if we will stability region near Syria, we can give the opportunity to Arabian country to make the transportation of oil, transportation of gas, and so on to the Europe across Russian Federation. Russia don't want to lose the monopoly status of oil and gas in Europe and Syria is just a battlefield that if we will have still conflict in Syria 10, 20, 100 years, it will be better for Russian Federation because instability in this region is the guarantee of monopolization of Russian Federation in the oil market. No, thank you. What about our situation and our position in Russia? We as Western countries, yes, we have some, we always have some different ideas with Russian Federation. We understand that Russia is uncontrolling. We just watching, we just observing about Abkhazia, North Ossetia, Crimea, Donbass, and so on. We cannot do nothing because we just use diplomatic. Diplomatic instruments. So when we support Russian Federation, we will show this country our weakness. We will show that we are really needs Russia. So another point of our misunderstanding, we lose this whole point because Bashar Assad is one of the battlefield on our ideological war with Russian Federation. And if we show weakness one time, we will show the Russian Federation that their instrument is working, that their instruments are really effective. So we still we don't want to help Russia provide their own interests, and we really need a stability in the region as all over the world. Please oppose this.
I'd like to welcome the speaker from the opposition side to some of the debate in the panel.
So, today was a really interesting debate, and firstly, from the first tables we heard about that we don't have a problem, and it is not a problem of world society because it's only a problem of Syria and their territory and so on. It was a speech of first tables, and firstly I want to talk why exactly it is a problem and why is it our problem, and then I will speak about our proposition. So our first opposition said that it is not a problem because we will wait till they will say that we want to make a war against you, but we speak about ISIS. It is a terroristic organization, and terrorists never say about their plans, and they will never say, hey, tomorrow we will make a terror. And so Vatican and different countries in Europe will not wait until they will say that we will make war with you because it's terroristic organization. It is just impossible. And nowadays we have a great problem of refugees in the world, and this problem is the greatest problem since Second World War with refugees. And it costs lots of money for all world society, and it is our problem because not only refugees goes from this territory, but also the member of ISIS, which looks like refugees, go to our countries and make terrors there. And we have really great examples in USA, in France, the situation with Charlie and so on, which is not really open that it was ISIS members, but it is really possible. And all countries in the European Union and USA says that it is really great problem, and we need to do something. And we think that just to say that it is not our problem and so on, it's not interesting in this game. And we will speak now about our proposition and second opposition, which told us about Russian interest, and it is really great because they say that the main aim of Russia in Syria it is instability. But if they want to make instability like in Ukraine, in order to not go Syria to European Union, but it is a little bit crazy because Syria didn't want to go to European Union. But when we see the situation in Ukraine, when they wanted to make instability, they make everything secretly, and they just don't tell USA and Europa that we will make our air forces in Syria, because nowadays we know that Russia just tell all information to USA and to European Union what they want to do, and they make everything open. If they want to make instability, they will help Assad like they did in past, and they will send them weapons and so on. So we think that this case about instability just doesn't work because they make everything open. So about oil market and so on. But Syria is not the greatest export member of of oil, because if really Russia wants just to be a great country and great oil market has, so they will go to Arab Emirates or Saudi Arabia, but not to Syria, and you don't see this case also. And Russia now has really great points in oil market. So, and also we think that you say that we can trust Russia and Russia just make everything by their own, but the situation in Ukraine, Russia go to the conversation, she go with Angela Merkel to France and so on, and they make this conversation because they understand and which is Russian interest, I will say, and my teammate said that Russia has an interest now. So now Russia has really big problems in the world, because okay, Russia wants to behave like they make everything by their own, but ruble is become less, and they have problems in their economy and so on. They are not a member of G8 anymore, and they want to make something differently. So they want to solve the situation, but they understand that all of these problems because of Crimea, because of annexion of Crimea. But Russia put all of the situation in the south that she just wanted to help Russian citizens in Crimea and so on. So just to give back Crimea, it is not a solution of all of the situation, because Russia just can't say that we will give Crimea back, because Russian citizens will not support this idea. So they can't make this with Crimea. They need to make something else in order to have this reputation in the world, and in order to solve the situation with sanctions, because Russia is really suffering about sanctions. And now, when first Russia really has a possibility to go to Syria, because they have weapons and so on, and because they have a reason to go there, they really can do it and they want to do it. So, what else? My teammate told you that now we have a really big problem for whole world society. But it is really clearly that Hussein will not go there because of Iraq, because of Afghanistan, because their citizens are just full of war, and they will not do. Europa is not tended to make a war at all, and they are not tended to send their people and to waste money for a war. But which situation we have in Russia? Russia is a country where people now are still celebrating their win in a war. So it's okay for Russian people that we can go to another country, win there, and then we can celebrate it. Secondly, Putin is a person in Russia who can say just, we will go to the Russia, and it is not so democratic country like you say in Europe, and it will be no conflicts in this country if Putin will just say we will go to Syria. So if, for example, you say, oh, Europe will go with the war to Syria, there are lots of problems because it is a democratic country. But Russia doesn't have these problems, and Russia just can go there. So, in this problem, we have a proposition, and we say that maybe Russia can make something wrong. Maybe Russia can support Assad, but she is supporting Assad. Or maybe tomorrow we will have an apocalypse. But our idea, we say that it is really important to solve now this problem, and it is really important what is going now, that risk which will be in the future, because we understand that it is not risking situation, because every situation in political world is risking, but we compare risk with situation which is horrible just now, and we need to make this situation, we need to solve it somehow. So when we compare this risk which can be in future and this situation where we are suffering right now, we just our proposition just a really good idea, and it can be done. Thanks.
Yeah, I think the lady first speaker would like to welcome this lady speaker from the opposition side to some of the debates.
Hi to everyone, I'm very glad to be in this panel. Thanks for this opportunity. Before analysis, few points. First of all, we are not interested in satisfying Russian people and Putin. We are not interested about his legitimization and how a lot of people are supported by him. We have own interests and own reasons. It's the first. The second, in the world of government, there is no such a thing like first bombing of IGIL without any mention. After that we have some negotiation. After that we have some dialogue between Putin and Obama and so on and so on. But we are trying to solve this problem. We understand that we, as world society and Western democracy, are not controlling Russia. We just wake up and know that Russia have bombed Syria and IGIL. And now we need to answer only for one question. What decision we should make now? Whom we should support as ally? Yes, we need to answer. Should we do the same that we did before, or we need to support Russia? And this is the main point of this debate. In my analysis, I show three things. First, real reasons. Second, when we accept these reasons, can we accept and let Russia doing the same that she does now? And the next, what consequences we have in such a case? First of all, reasons. Yeah.
Russia provides information about places they are bombing right now. So Russia
right now, because we need this dialogue, because we are behind. Okay, let's go. First of all, reasons. We have two main thoughts. First, in the mind of government that says Russia is a very good country. Russia wants to fight against ISIS, and we, like democratic countries, we need to support it and using their army solve the problem of ISIS. Very clear point. But we haven't seen the movement of two main points. First of all, Syria isn't the only country where we have ISIS. We have the problem of ISIS, but it's not equal to Syria. And we have not answered on the question, if we would solve the problem on territory of Syria, would we solve the problem of the whole ISIS? No, we said we wouldn't.
But Syria is a country where is majority of ISIS, so we fight majority, so we have only minority.
Okay, let it be so. And the second point, what for is fighting Russia? Is really she interested to against ISIS? And we say no, she's not interested in it. She's interested in Bashar al-Assad. She's interested to control the transition of oil to European countries. She's not interested to enter opposition to rule the... No, I won't take it. That's why we understand that if in the mind of government Russia have such thoughts and want to fight against ISIS, it would be in the next way. Russia would support USA, France and so on, but we didn't see it. Russia would help to fight against us, but we didn't see it. We saw that Russia have own interests and do it in own way. That's why we understand what she is fighting for. If we understand it, we understand the concept that, first of all, supporting Russia, we wouldn't solve the problem of ISIS. We would have the problems with our own reasons and interests, and we give the very bad example for all society. We teach society that we are just sitting and watching how Russia is bombing another country. We're teaching people that it's okay. We're teaching people that we cannot solve this problem. We are just sitting and watching. And what would it provide? It would provide to another conference. It would provide that we don't fight for our interests. And the main point, look, the problem of Syria, opposition and Assad was before we have the problem with ISIS. What does it mean? It means that in the idea of proposition, if we support Russia, and even if we solve this problem, but I don't believe in it, we have just another circle. We would have another opposition in Syria, which would fight with Bashar al-Assad. Why? Because they are now fighting with him, because they think that he's legitimate? Yeah.
Referring to you, the only interest of Russia is actually having some instability, which already is, but it doesn't matter. Russia is already so economically exhausted. They don't want to have more control over other things.
Okay, that means
their own development.
it means very bad, very big problems in the logic of proposition. Because one side we saw very strong country with cool army who can solve our problem. Another side we saw, oh, they have sanctions. They have problem with another countries. They are not in great aid. That's why they want to fight against us. No, it doesn't work. And we can accept only one of this point. But it doesn't work. That's what I'm showing. All of this came us to one clear point. We, as democratic countries, as the United States, European Union, doesn't matter, have own interests. It's based on understanding for us what are we fighting for and against whom we are fighting for. We have our allies, we have opposition in Syria, we have Turkey and so on, and we are making some clear and understanding steps to fight, first of all, against ISIS, and we do it right now. Second, to fight against Bashar Assad regime. We don't need it. And in the end of it, we need only one thing: clear entrance to transition oil from Arabian countries to Europe. That's why we cannot agree with that proposition.